people have raised issues about his mentality off the field, but now he's getting some heavy praise about his play on the field. One scout, NFL.com's Bucky Brooks, called him, quote, the most polished quarterback prospect I've scouted since Andrew Luck.
Oh.
CC, what has to happen for Josh Rosen to be an NFL star?
He's got to get his body bigger to be able to take the pounding that you're going to take as an NFL quarterback. I believe a lot of the other things will work themselves out as far as people have some type of problem with him being outspoken, being interested in other things besides football. All those things work themselves out after the draft. I believe it's more important of his landing spot. Where can he have success early? I believe that if he's put in a situation like the L.A. Rams with Jared Goff, we saw Jared Goff for a season. And if they did not make that coaching change, if they had not made that personnel change, if they didn't go out and get Whitworth as an offensive tackle from Cincinnati, man, his career could have gone in a total different direction. So for me, I'm wondering, how are they going to support him? Now, I don't necessarily agree with the analysis of saying he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. I don't believe that to be true. But in this year's draft, he has the best throwing mechanics. He throws a beautiful football, all right? His throwing motion, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a question mark in the NFL when he gets hit. How durable is he going to be? So I believe his throwing motion, and it is special. He is definitely, I believe, a competent NFL starting quarterback. But just like all the other prospects, there are questions surrounding him.
Before I give my opinion, I want to ask you a question about this. What, to you, is more easily fixable once you become a pro quarterback? Mechanics and throwing motion, where everyone seems to believe Rosen's an A or an A+, or durability, which is where, would you rather...
The durability.
Is more easily fixable.
The durability is the hardest thing, because we don't know if a guy gets hit right on his chin, what he's going to do. All right? And that's one of the problems I have with guys who are slightly built, or like I say, he comes from very, very successful parents. Like, does he have the grit to be able to stay in there and play football long term? Those are the things that I believe are harder to change than your throwing motion. We've seen Tom Brady change his throwing motion a couple times. Drew Brees changed his throwing motion. Anyway, if you have Aaron Rodgers, you don't have to change that. But we have seen those guys adjust their throwing motion.
You'd rather, I just wanted, because I asked the question awkwardly, you'd rather a guy have questionable mechanics, but know he can take a pounding and figure you can fix the mechanics, rather than a guy with great mechanics.
Almost all the guys have questionable mechanics.
Okay.
All right? Now, you don't have football players who aren't tough. All right, so those, the mechanics, we expect to be able to correct those. But the toughness part, I don't have a pill that they can take for that.
The question is, you know, what does Josh Rosen need to do to be successful? And I think, because I'm a believer in his talent, I'm a believer not just in the mechanics, because I can't really break down the mechanics. I'm just a believer in what I see when he throws the football, and man, it looks good. And I'm a believer in his intelligence, and I think as a quarterback, that matters more than just about any other position on the field. What he does need, because I think Cece's right, that while nobody is equipped to take the type of beating David Carr took his rookie year in Houston, or I think he was sacked 78 times his first two, or maybe his first season, second season, something like that, he needs to be able to take some type of punishment, but can't be abused early on. And that's my biggest concern with Josh, is who's drafting quarterbacks? Well, the Browns are drafting a quarterback. Their left tackle just retired. Like, you know what I mean? One of the reasons they've had, even when they've been batting decent offensive lines, because they've had a Hall of Famer at left tackle. Well, he's gone. The Jets are drafting a quarterback. I don't know the great offensive lineman they have. The Bills are drafting a quarterback. How did the Bills
They just traded their left tackle.
That's what I was about to say. How did the Bills get more draft ammo to draft their quarterback? They traded away Cordy Glenn. So, like, in a perfect world, where does a guy like Josh Rosen go? I don't know, maybe Arizona? Maybe Denver, where he can sit for a year behind Case Keenum?
What about the Giants?
That is my answer. I was giving the other alternatives. The Giants are the team that I believe the Giants should draft a quarterback at 2. I also think for him that is the best possible situation. The Giants just spent a boatload of money on an offensive lineman, right? The left tackle, who they steal that left tackle away from New England, Nate Solder. So they just spent a bunch of money on what they think is their left tackle. You wouldn't be asked to start immediately. You could learn under Eli Manning for a year. If you were to ask me, what is the best case scenario for for Josh Rosen, it's to go to the Giants. Not just because you're going to make a bunch of money as the number 2 overall pick, but because you won't be asked to play immediately. They have one of the very best wide receivers in football. They have a great infrastructure as an organization. For all those reasons, I think that is the best path for him rather than going to the Jets at number 3 or going to the Bills wherever they trade up to.
He'd have a blast with the media in New York. He would over-intellectualize everything. Does he remind you of anyone? Is there anyone playing right now that Josh Rosen reminds you of?
I would say just the recent Jared Goff because of their frame and a little bit of the throwing motion, the type of offense they played in the Pac-12. I think that right off the bat, that's who you would see. As far as consistency, throwing the ball from the pocket, kind of some of the same things we saw with Jared Goff when we saw him coming out of college into the NFL.
Were you concerned about Goff's durability?
Ain't no doubt. Absolutely.
And you still are?
Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's hard to play quarterback and be slightly built. Like if he gets hit, typically when you get hit in the NFL, you get hurt. I don't care how smart you are. When you get hit, you break. And he's shown to break in college, not playing against the best of the best.
All right, take a break. Coming up, are the Warriors' injuries finally going to catch up to him?
That's what he does.
That's next. First things first.
I'm worried about his left leg. He blew out